Hey everybody, Manny Talabear here, and we're now on day 7 of the 7-figure climb. And the 7-figure climb is simply all about helping you all go from zero to $1 million in 365 days or less, sharing what you offer out to the marketplace. And this is actually more for coaches, consultants, and course creators. We're going to give you a metric ton of insights on how to do this. We're also hopefully going to do it live right in front of you, and you're going to be able to watch us, and you're going to be able to pick up tips, tricks, and ideas from what I am doing while I'm actually building this thing out. And so in today's video, we're going to talk about overcoming fear, procrastination, limiting beliefs. We're going to give you a lot of tools and insights on that. And so to kind of walk you through what happened on day 4, I think it was, we were talking about fear a little bit, but this is the thing. Day 4 and day 3 were supposed to be together. It was supposed to be marketing assets and liabilities. Marketing assets, everything I have going for me. Liabilities, everything that I'm struggling with, that I need help with, or that I need to overcome. And it was more about me and my current situation. And we did talk about fear a little bit. We did give you all some insights, but the thing was, this was actually more about my current reality and my current situation, and it was more about me. And so what I decided to do, and I had always planned on doing this. As a matter of fact, I've got many courses and things we're going to share out to you all for watching. And so what I decided to do, and we were going to do this about 2 or 3 weeks down the road, I'm going to actually go through a course with you on overcoming fear, procrastination, limiting beliefs that I created quite a while back. Now, it's actually in Kajabi. If you want it, send me a DM on Facebook and send me your email address, and I'll drop you right into the course. Or you can join the coaches, consultants, and course creators. You can leave a post there and contact me there. And then the other thing you can do is, if you can go ahead and like the video here, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification. We're probably just going to drop that course right here into the YouTube platform. And what we'll probably do is call it bonus videos or something. So you'll get like day 7, day 8, day 9 as usual, and then you'll get bonus videos. And we're going to actually cover the content today, but the only difference is it's PowerPoint. And so I can tell you that it's a PowerPoint presentation. I've got it all mapped out here on note cards. We're going to walk you through day 1. In day 1, we're going to talk about fear of failure, fear of failing in public, fear no one will buy, fear people will ask for a refund, and maybe when they ask for the refund, you don't have the money to give them the money back. Fear of selling or asking for the money, fear of competition, fear of being on camera, fear of not having social proof, fear of how can I help other people be successful when I myself am not successful yet? We're going to talk about that. And then fear of tech. And this is day 1. And we'll talk about what we're covering on day 2 at the end here. And so again, all on note cards, quite a bit to cover. Wasn't planning on covering this for a while. And so again, we're a few hours behind today, mostly because I had to go in and pull all of this content and kind of create it. And so we're running a little bit late. And so do me a huge favor again, if you get value from this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon so that you get notified, because we're doing videos every single day. We might be running a little bit behind, but we will be doing videos on a daily basis. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. And so the first thing we're going to talk about is fear of failure. Now, everyone is going to be scared to fail. And sometimes things aren't going to work the way that you want them to. That's just the way it is. Things are going to go wrong. But the results that you get are simply data. And once you get that information, you can adjust. And there are really no failures. The only failures in the marketplace are people who do not start or people who quit. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't start or they quit because they had this fear of failure. But what you want to think about is every time you put something out there, you're going to get feedback, and that feedback is simply data. And what you can do is, based on that data, you can change what you can make changes, put it back out there. That's all that you have to do. You make changes, you put it back out to the marketplace, you get more data, you make more changes. If someone doesn't buy an offer from you, you can get this. You can change the copywriting, you can change the video, you can change the bonuses, you can change the pricing, you can change the content of the program. You can scrap the whole thing and start over. And the great thing is you get unlimited at bats. You can keep doing this until you start getting base hits, and then you get home runs. But we're going to move forward here, and we're going to talk about number 2, which is fear of failing in public. And this is what most people are much more afraid of. And I can tell you that the bottom line is this: there are no comma club awards. There's no announcement when you fail. It doesn't work like that. And people really do not care. They're mostly focused on their own thing. And if you make an offer for a group coaching, let's say you make an offer for a group coaching program and only a few people buy, the people who buy win. And so I'm going to talk to you about this for a minute. So most people, first of all, assume everyone's making way more money than they're making rather than not making any at all. And so when you make an offer to sell something, the only people who actually know what the results were, if it's a group coaching program or a group course offer, are the actual people who bought. If it's not that type of thing, no one ever really knows. And so the assumption that you're failing in public is really a misnomer, because 1, nobody knows. There's no announcement that you failed. And number 2, not only is there no announcement, people are oblivious and don't care. Now, let's say you're going to sell 100 people into a group coaching program or a course, and only 8 people bought. The bottom line is those 8 people win. I've got a question for you. If you get put into a group coaching program, would you rather be in a program with 200 people or 10 people? I would much rather be in the program with 10 people, because the fewer people there are, the more access I'm going to get. And so it's simply good math for those people. And so those people really win, because they're going to have a lot more access than they would get if there were a lot of people in the program. Now, this is the other thing. These people did not sign up for your program because a lot of people were going to be in it. They signed up for your program because of the value that you were going to be delivering, that you promised in all of your content. That's why they're in the program. They're in the program for the value, not for the people. And so you need to forget about all that. And I can tell you, no one has ever asked for a refund because a bunch of other people didn't buy. It doesn't work that way. So no one has ever said, hey, man, I thought there are going to be 30 or 40 or 100 people in here and there's only 12. I want a refund. I've never heard of anyone ever doing that. And so you don't need to be concerned about that. So the thing about failing in public, I understand the fears of that, but I can tell you it's just really not a thing. And again, like I said, while you're concerned that you're not making any money, most people out there think that you're making 10x what you're making. Everyone thinks everyone's making millions of dollars in this space. So the next one, number 3, is the fear that no one will buy. And the bottom line is no one might buy it first. And if that happens, you get to make adjustments. You get to make changes. This is not a failure. It is simply a setback. And like I said, you make an offer and no one buys, you make adjustments, you make changes to the offer. And this is the other thing. How many are you selling right now? And I think that's something you really need to question. So you got this offer, you want to put it out there, but you're not putting out there for fear that no one will buy. Well, how many people are buying it right now? No one can buy it if you don't put it out there. And if you put it out there, you can't possibly do any worse than you're doing now. And so that's the reason, for if no other reason, that you should actually put the offer out, because you're not doing yourself a service by not releasing it because you have a fear that no one will buy. Because like I said, you're already at zero. You can go nowhere but up. And if you don't get any sales, you get feedback and you get closer to getting buyers. And that's what I want you to think about there. So number 4 is fear people will ask for refunds, and maybe you won't have the money to refund them the second they ask for a refund. And I get this. And again, I can tell you every single thing I'm covering, I experienced myself. I created this product. I created this course from everything under the sun that I dealt with. And I had to eliminate these things. And what's interesting is if you go in day 4 and look at the fears that I have, there are a set of fears and there's some issues there, but it's none of this stuff. This stuff is gone now. I'm overcame all of this. And so, like I said, I just want you to get that this is the other thing. I've done over 3,000 strategy sessions. I've worked with 300 coaching clients. I've made 80 courses. I'm still doing this stuff every day. And I had every single possible configuration of fear, limiting belief, procrastination that you can imagine. And so I can tell you that you can overcome any of these. So we're going to talk about the fear that people might ask for refunds. The odds of someone asking for a refund and you don't have the money are very low. Now, the first thing there are a number of solutions. Solution number 1, you're taking money through PayPal, you're taking money through Stripe, whatever you're taking money through, you leave 1 or 2 or 3 payments on deck, you leave it sitting there, so that if anyone asks for a refund, the money's immediately sitting there and you can give them the money back. Now, number 2, let's say you're spending the money as it's coming in and you're getting sales every 2 or 3 or 4 days. You pay them out of cash flow, which means someone asks for a refund. You message them and say, you basically say your refund will be processed in a few days, and you process their refund when someone else buys. So you actually refund their money from other people's money. And I can tell you, I sold on PayPal, and this is exactly how I did it all. I gave them money from future sales. And so if someone messaged me and asked for a refund, back then I was selling physical DVDs and CDs. I would say to that person, you bought something from me that was print on demand. We printed it, we created it, and we sent it to you. We're going to sell that again. And when we sell it again, we're going to give you the refund based on that buyer. And then you're going to send it back and we're going to send your product to that person. Now, the worst case scenario here is very simple. The worst case scenario is someone is going to have to wait 2 or 3 or 4 days for a refund. That's what you want to think about here. Now, I want you to think about something though. If you get a payment in through Stripe, it takes you 2 or 3 days to get that payment. They make the payment, takes you 2 or 3 days. You give them a refund, it takes 2 or 3 days to make the refund. So all you do is you just go in, send them an email and say, sorry you were unhappy with the product, your refund is being processed, you'll have it in a few days. And then what you do is you wait for money to come in and then you refund them. But that's what you want to think about. So like I said, this fear that someone is going to, like the worst case scenario, someone waits 3 or 5 days for a refund. They're probably going to have to wait for the refund anyway. So I wouldn't burn a lot of energy on this. So the next thing we're going to talk about is fear of competition. And I can tell you, you should not fear competition at all. You should embrace it. If there is no competition, that just means that there's not much of a demand for what you're selling. The more sellers there are, the more buyers there tends to be, and the more people in the market create a bigger market for the thing. And what you want to think about is if you go to a mall that has 20 shoe stores, the more shoe stores that show up there, the more people go there to buy shoes. And so the market creates the market, and we're in the same exact place. And people come to me all the time and they say, Manny, I've got the greatest thing ever. There's no competition. And every time people tell me that, I tell them to stop, drop, and roll. I tell them to run fast, you're not going to make money in a market where there's no people selling there. If there's no one selling there, that means there's not a market there. There's a reason for that. And so what you want to think about here is that the more people there are selling, the more of a market there is. And this is the other thing that you need to think about. How many of any given thing do you have? You know, I bought 300 or 400 courses. I bought hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books. A buyer is a buyer is a buyer, and they buy from more than one person. And the person who bought from your competition is likely to buy from you. And in my opinion, there is no competition. There are only future joint venture partners. That's the way that I look at it. And that's the mindset that you need to have when it comes to competition. But we're going to move on. And number 6 is fear of selling or asking for money. Now, this is a mindset, and the bottom line is it's a mindset issue, and you're not asking for money. What you're simply doing is exchanging value. They're giving you money, and you're giving them another form of value. And the mindset should be that you're giving them 10x value of the money that they're actually giving you. That's what you want to think about here. When I do a transaction, I'm always giving way more than they're giving me. It's not an even trade. They're giving me, I'm giving them a lot more in value than they're giving me in money. And that's what you need to think about here. And more than likely, you're giving them more value than they're giving you. Now, this is the other thing. You have to get that in order to help people, you're ultimately going to have to sell them something in some cases. That's just the way it is. If you have something that really helps people move forward, you have an obligation to put it out into the marketplace. You're not doing your market any good by not selling it or putting it out there, because you have fears around putting your stuff out there. If you want to help yourself and you want to help others, you must let go of these money issues and these money problems. And like I said, the bottom line is you need to put yourself out there, and you're not doing your market a service. What you're doing here, if you're scared to ask for the money, is you're making your market wait for your solution until you get your act together. And you're punishing your people because you're not willing to put yourself out there. And you need to check yourself here. I mean, I've got a question for you. Heart surgeon, guy goes to school, graduates, goes to medical school, does internships, spends years and years and years to become a heart surgeon, and he decides he's not going to be a heart surgeon because he doesn't want to sell. What is going to happen? The people who need his services are going to die because they're not going to get his services. And you need to think about what you sell, the way that person sells what they sell, and the fact that you're not putting yourself out there because you have all of these fears. You're making your audience wait. You're punishing them for problems that you have, and you just need to think about all of those things. But we're going to move on to number 7, and number 7 is fear of being on camera. And I can tell you, I struggled with this one a lot, and we will talk about this a lot more. You're going to hear me talk about being on camera a lot as we're going through this stuff. First of all, if you're creating courses, a lot of this now can be done with Camtasia and PowerPoint. As a matter of fact, I created over 80 products. Now, I was scared to death to be on camera, but I was on camera the first 40 products or so because I didn't know how to do Camtasia and all of that, and PowerPoint and all that. And now most of my products are Camtasia and PowerPoint, not because I'm scared of being on camera, but it's easier, it's faster. I think it's a better product for the marketplace. The other thing now is, within reason, people expect Camtasia and PowerPoint or some variation of that. So they don't really even expect you to be on camera. So you do not have to be on camera that much at all. But this is the thing. You are going to need to be on camera if you're going to create a following. If you want to build a fan base, you're going to have some charisma. You're going to have to put yourself out there. You're going to need to do some recorded videos and also some Facebook Lives. You're going to have to get in front of from the microphone a little bit. If you want to be a leader and you want to lead, you're going to need to start creating branding video, which is essentially what I'm constantly doing on YouTube here. And you're going to have to set yourself up as an expert. You can't set yourself up as an expert by just making offers to people. You have to set yourself up as an expert by continually delivering value to them, and then you make offers to them. And that's when the selling gets much easier. Now, this is the thing. You can do this. Just start out by creating very short videos that deliver value. So you can start out by creating 2 and 3 minute videos and make it as very simple as possible, make it as simple as absolutely possible, and just start by making very short videos and doing it that way. And you can post the recorded videos at first. You do not have to go live. And so I'm going to walk you through this because I can tell you, struggled really bad with being on camera. I really did. And so what you can do is you can start out by doing recorded video, even if you're doing Facebook. You can create videos, you can create them in Zoom, you can create them many, many, many different ways. And what you can do is share those videos to your audience, and you can share them on YouTube. But you can start out by creating very, very short 2 and 3 minute videos and just drop them in your group or on your personal page. Once you get decent at that, you can start going live. Now, I'm going to tell you how to start going live. I'm going to tell you how to get good at this. Step 1, go to Facebook and create a private Facebook group. Step 2, add 1 person to it. Generally, you need to add 1 person. Now, the rule may have changed. You might not even need to add anyone now. But if you need to add 1 person to it, what you can do is you can go through your Facebook friends list and find someone who has an account that's inactive, completely inactive. They can't get into it. They haven't used it in 5 years. You can add that person. I'll give you an example. My niece, every time she gets a new phone, she gets a new Facebook, she never remembers her password, doesn't know how to deal with tech, doesn't know how to get in. So she's had 15 phones. She's got 15 Facebook accounts, but can only access 1 of them. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to add 1 of those other accounts. So what you do now is you create a private Facebook group, and you've got 1 person in it, but that person is completely inactive. What you then do is you go in that Facebook group and you practice going live, and you just practice over and over and over. And you continue to do that until you feel like that you're comfortable with it. And then what you do is then you start going live in front of a small group of people. So you build a private Facebook group and you add some people to that, and you start going live to a small group. And then eventually you build up to where you're doing it on your personal Facebook group, Facebook platform, and also you build the group up. But you can do all of this and you can step up to the plate. But it all starts by practicing. And I can tell you, I struggled really bad with this. It took me forever. And now I can get up from a dead sleep and go live. I don't have any issues. I'm not fearful of being on camera. I'm not fearful. I don't have any of that anymore. But it's a muscle that you have to flex in order to get there. And so I just wanted you all to be aware of this. But we're going to move on. And we're going to talk about number 8, fear of not having any social proof. And so this stops a lot of people from taking action. Everyone has an idea that they need testimonials or success stories in order to sell coaching or courses. But the thing is, I can tell you this is absolutely not true. I've done over 3,000 strategy sessions, and I've not ever once had anyone ask me for testimonials or results I've got for other clients. It's a mindset that you all have. And I'm telling you, 3,000 strategy sessions, and no one has ever said, wait a minute, Manny, I want to know what results you've got for other people. First of all, no one cares about that. No one cares what you've done for other people. The only thing they care is what you can do for them. And no one has ever asked me that in 3,000 strategy sessions. When you demonstrate that you're an expert, people automatically want to work with you. And people, again, do not care what results you've got from other people. If you get the question about what results you've got for other people, it's either A, they're a tire kicker and they aren't going to buy anyway, or B, you were chasing them to get them on a call. And I can tell you, if you chase people and you beg them to get on a call, you're going to have to demonstrate, and they're going to be very, very, very skeptical. But when you deliver value that causes people to raise their hand and ask for a call, they're not going to ask you any of those questions. And I'm telling you, no one's ever asked me any of that. So don't be concerned you're going to run into any of that. So number 9, we're going to move on here. Number 9 is the fear or the mindset that how can I help people be more successful when I myself am not successful yet? That and that's it's a very fair thing to think about, but I'm going to go over some things with you. Every dentist pulls the first tooth, every attorney has a first client, and every doctor has a first patient. And usually when that happens, those people are hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt with student loans. Sometimes success comes from having a series of assets and using them in the right way. And that's what you want to think about. So your clients will often have assets or marketing assets that you don't necessarily have. Being broke or struggling does not mean that you don't have the skill to help people. It only means that you're just starting out. And that's the mindset that you have to have. This is the other thing. Your clients have no idea what situation you're in anyway. You don't need to worry about that. And so when you get started, everyone starts out broke. Everyone starts out the same. I created a product called Guru Backstories. It has Dan Kennedy's backstory, Jay Abraham's backstory, Frank Kern's backstory, my backstory, and a bunch of others. And it just walks through what they were like before they were famous, before they'd ever made any money. And everyone starts out the same place. They start out without having a clue, without having any money. They start out struggling. And what you got to get is that it's just part of the deal. But no one knows really where you're at. No one knows the condition you're in. And by the way, when that dentist is pulling the first tooth, it's probably not a good idea to say it, lean over and say, this is the first time I've done this. They don't need to know what your situation is. The only thing that they need to know is that you can help them. And that's what you want to think about here. And the last one we're going to talk about is fear of tech. Now, I can tell you tech can be very, very scary, but your attitude needs to be that if someone else has done it, I can do it. And the great news is there's a metric ton of training out there, and it's all free. You don't have to really work that hard to find the solutions. You can find them all, and they're all free on YouTube and on Google. In some cases, you can also just hire someone to do the things that you're inept or you're unable to do. My advice to you, though, is try to solve the problems yourself before hiring it out. I can tell you that when I got in this space, and we're actually done with the 10 there. When I got in this space, I started creating courses. I'll try and explain this to you. So it's so complicated, I don't even remember it all. But I was doing physical product. I was doing DVDs and CDs. I was using an editing VCR. I was recording my product to a VHS tape. I was taking that VHS tape and I was putting it into a DVD to VCR to DVD recorder, and I was transferring the file from a VHS tape to a DVD, and I was taking that DVD, and that was my master, and I was making originally I was making one copy of it at a time. And so someone would buy it, I would make one copy. And then eventually I started making, and when I was making that one copy, I was using software like Narrow, oh gosh, I can't even remember the softwares. I mean, this has been so long ago. And by the way, nothing on YouTube to teach me how to do all of this. All of this was by trial and error. And I created 30 or 40 products this way, 30 or 40 products. My first 30 products were unedited, right in the title, because I had no idea how to edit a VHS tape. And so what I did is I faded in, I talked for 60 minutes and I faded out, and that was my product. And if I screwed up, I had to start all over. And like I said, there was nothing out there to teach me how to do all this. And by the way, again, keep in mind, I'm legally blind, so I can't read small print or anything. And so I figured, so the bottom line is, the mindset is that you got to figure it out. If there's something that gets you stuck, when you get stuck, right? When you hit a wall, there's only a couple of things you can do. So you can either take a break, or you can go watch TV, or you can go surf the internet, or you can stay in the game and fight until you figure that thing out and solve it. And the great thing about it, Google and YouTube are your friend. If you've got a problem with something, chances are someone else had that same problem and they've solved it. And what you do is you just keep typing it. Your job is to learn how to type searches into YouTube and Google, and just keep typing them in until the result comes out that teaches you what you want to know. And then the great thing about this is every single piece of software that you use, there are, first of all of the companies have software on YouTube that train you how to use it now. But in addition to that, every single person out there wants to be a YouTuber is creating trainings on how to do this stuff. And so it's all out there already. And so what you want to think about is, if someone else has done it, you can do it. Don't be scared of tech. Either A, figure it out and solve it, or B, just find someone else to actually solve the tech for you and tell you how to do it. And like I said, within reason, you can be stuck for 10 minutes, you can be stuck for 30 minutes, or you can be stuck for a year. You got to make a decision if you're going to stay in the game and fight. And like I said, if nothing else, you can buy your way out of it by just paying someone else to do it. But in my opinion, all of those things that I went through to create a master DVD. Oh, and this is the thing. So editing VCR to the VHS, to the transfer to a DVD. Then I had the DVD master, right? And then I make one copy of it. And then I would make a clamshell, and I make a clamshell cover, a piece of paper that had the logos and all of that stuff on it. And so it was like a 15-step process. And now you basically get in front of a camera, you make a PowerPoint presentation, you talk through it, you get in Camtasia, and you cut the beginning off, and you cut the end off, and you cut a few spaces out, and you're done. I mean, and you render it, and literally the computer does it all for you. I can tell you, it's 100,000 times easier now to create a course than it was when I was doing it way back when. So don't think that you can't solve it. And again, remember, legally blind, all those issues, and I was still able to navigate it. And so if I can navigate it, the mindset you can too. And your mindset needs to be that if someone else has done it, I can do it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to end out. Tomorrow, we are going to talk about, we're going to continue on this, and we're going to do DVD. We're going to do the second part of it, but I can tell you that it's going to probably be shorter. We're going to cover fear that you are too young or too old, fear that you're not good enough, fear that the information is all out there, so why should anybody buy from you, fear of charging high prices, fear of being famous, a target, or criticized. So the bigger you get, the more famous you get, the more criticized you're going to be. And there's a lot of people who are fearful of being a target. And I can tell you, I'm a target every day. You got to get over. So I call this fear of being famous, And so as you become famous, you become a target and criticized. Fear of rejection, fear of doing it all alone, and fear of success. And we're going to talk about those all tomorrow. And so, again, I appreciate each and every one of you all for being here. We were running about 4 or 5 hours late. Sorry we were running late today, but I did want to go ahead and create this and put it out there because I know this is going to help some people. And, do me a huge favor, make a comment and tell us what value you got from it. And if it helps you to get through to something, definitely share that. Share that on my Facebook page. Share that to my audience. I appreciate hearing those stories. But I appreciate each and every one of you all for being here. Like the video, subscribe to my channel, and also hit that bell notification because we're dropping videos every single day. We might be running a little bit late. We're going to get them out. We appreciate you all being here. We will see you all on the other side, and thanks a lot.